The fields of rural America during harvest season will give you wonderful experiences. Colorful, with a rich variety of agricultural products, and also worth looking forward to a bountiful harvest. Right now, let's visit the fields to see how American farmers harvest and process large. First of all, let's find out how cherries go from the farm to the table. Spring is the time when farmers start making predictions about their upcoming crops. Cherry season lasts 90 days. When the cherries are round, dark red and smooth, this is a sign that they are ready to harvest. In the days before harvest, a lot of attention is paid to sampling cherries to check size and color. Additionally, tasting them is the best way to determine the optimal harvest time. The group of farmers start working at sunrise to pick the cherries off the trees before the heat of the day sets in. They worked continuously and had to fill 150 to 200 barrels. That means each worker will be responsible for picking about 580 pounds of cherries. The rule for picking is to prioritize ripe berries evenly, one branch at a time on the tree, and so on to go through all the trees in the row until the end of the garden. Once the bag is full, the farmer will pour the cherries into the bin and pick up the branches and leaves. From the time they pick to the time they pour it into the tray, they are very careful and gentle. Typically, farms in the US need about 80 to 120 workers, and harvesting takes about 1 month. Next, the cherries will be transported to the nearest receiving location or packing facility. Containers are tested for size, firmness, and sugar content. Water cooling is an important step, helping to ensure the quality of the cherries remains high. Cherries are soaked in cold water to remove heat from the field. Workers are responsible for finding poor quality cherries and removing them. Classification is based on color, size, and smoothness of the peel. The cherries are kept in a cold room until packaged. Farmers try to package and ship them within 24 to 48 hours of harvest. New Mexico is famous for its chili fields in the United States. This is the agricultural product most loved by farmers and is almost the largest agricultural product in the state. In 2023, workers harvested more than 54,000 tons of chili. Nearly 100% of US red peppers and paprika are now harvested mechanically. Along with that comes about 90% of the jalapeno crop. Farmers said the need for mechanization is mainly in the fresh market, while frozen fresh green peppers are mostly harvested by hand. The harvest will be completed in 3 to 4 weeks. More than 200 mechanical harvesters have been developed and tested around the world. However, green peppers are still mainly harvested by hand because harvesters damage the skin and machines cannot meet the need for stem removal in the green pepper market. Early yields are determined because peppers usually develop before the onset of hot weather. The weight of the chili gradually increases. Finally, chili peppers usually reach the mature stage 35 to 50 days after the plant flowers. An ideal mature green chili should be smooth, fleshy, and about 6 to 7 inches long. Good yields of green stem peppers range from 14 to 17 tons per acre. Immediately after harvest, green peppers are transported by farmers to a nearby processing factory. Here, the peppers are washed in water to remove dirt and field heat. This will help maintain the quality of chili while increasing storage and use time. Chili fields are often picked several times during the season. During that period, the peppers continue to grow and change color. Therefore, red peppers are usually harvested by machine once at the end of the season. Red pepper yields average about 3,500 pounds per acre in southern New Mexico. Although the shape and size of red chili peppers will not have a huge impact on dried chili products, they need to be of optimal quality to be used in chili sauce or chili powder. If harvested too early, some peppers will be immature and unable to develop their full color. Goodbye chili fields, let's come to a summer fruit. It is very difficult to resist a piece of sweet and cool watermelon. Florida, Georgia, and California are the top watermelon producing states in the US. The total harvest of these three states is about 29 billion pounds of watermelon each year. Watermelon vines spread 6 to 8 feet in 30 days. After 2 months, it will produce its first watermelon. Finally, the crop is ready for harvest within 3 months. Most watermelon fields are picked twice during the season. On average, each watermelon plant produces 2 to 3 harvestable fruits. A sharp knife is used to cut the watermelons from the vines, then flip them over to indicate that they are ready. At this time, another group of workers goes to pick up the watermelons in the back. They pass the watermelon from hand to hand, then load it onto the truck for packaging. In this field, harvesters are picking watermelons and throwing them to a worker standing on a truck. Similar to basketball passing, it looks easy at first glance. However, this work requires a lot of strength from both the harvester and the packer. Due to differences in pollination times, not all watermelons ripen at the same time. Watermelons on the same plant usually ripen within a 2-week period. Therefore, farmers often have to harvest the same field many times. While fresh whole watermelons dominate, California growers and processors are finding new ways to get watermelons to customers across the country through fresh cuts and juices. Next is the farmer's journey with sugar beets. Sugar beets are commonly grown on most farms across the United States because this tuber can bring huge revenue from sugar production. The period when sugar beets are harvested usually begins in September and lasts until May of the following year. To get the highest sugar content, harvesting at the right time is important. Therefore, sugar beet farmers use specialized equipment to harvest. During the peak harvest season, sugar beet harvesters operate 24 hours a day to handle huge workloads, replacing labor. Harvesting machines begin cutting off the leaves of sugar beets. Next, the farmer uses a separate tractor to lift the sugar beets out of the ground and pick them up. They are initially cleaned to remove sand and other impurities before being put into the tank. The sugar beets are then loaded onto the truck next to them. When full, the truck carries the sugar beets to the receiving station for weighing and sampling. They need to determine the average road percentage of a given truck. After the second cleaning, a conveyor belt stacks the beets into piles 20 feet high, several hundred feet wide, and as long as space allows. Additionally, sugar beets can be transported to nearby processing plants. From here, farmers can turn these sugar beets into real sugar. Beets are washed, cut into pieces, and boiled. Boiling causes sugar crystals to form. After cooling, the sugar crystals are spun in a centrifuge to remove the natural molasses. Finally, white sugar crystals like this are obtained. Next, we go to the vineyards. Grape harvest usually begins 30 to 70 days after the fruit set. At this time, the grapes change color from green to yellow or red-purple. However, the optimal time to harvest depends on many different factors, including the type of grape, the desired flavor profile, and the specific market. Skilled workers carefully cut bunches of grapes and arrange them into containers. Choosing the best bunches of grapes and avoiding sunburn or plant rot is something only humans can do. Hand harvesting allows for more precise selection and controls grape content from oxidation caused by damaged skins. At the packaging stage, the grapes will be selected again. He is removing grapes that are small and uneven in color. All stages are done quickly and accurately to ensure that the packaged grapes will be of equal size, eye-catching dark purple color and fresh. Mechanical harvesting is often more cost-effective and is well suited for large vineyards located on flat land. When using a harvester, the grapes may become cold more quickly than when picked by hand. Using machinery is also beneficial for night harvesting. The only downside is that when the harvester shakes the vines, it can damage the stems and crush the grapes. However, mechanical grape picking has brought the wine industry to a new level. It is one of the main grape harvesting tools, making wine delicious and well priced. Besides grapes, from September to November is also the time when American farmers harvest pumpkins. Pumpkins are harvested when the fruit has a solid orange color and a hard skin. Immature green pumpkins can ripen during harvest. Harvest the fruit by cutting off the pumpkin's vine, leaving 3 to 6 inches of stem. This makes the pumpkin look more attractive and easier to sell. At the same time, there will be less attack by fruit rot pathogens. Normally, it is not feasible to harvest pumpkins early and preserve them until they can be marketed. Therefore, pumpkins must be stored in the field. If the vines and produce are healthy, farmers can successfully store them in the field for several weeks. The harvester gently passes through the pumpkin beds, sweeping up all the pumpkins lying on the ground. The conveyor belt brings just harvested pumpkins into containers next to the harvest truck. These two machines are doing work equivalent to the labor of about 20 workers. It helps pumpkin growers save costs and harvest time. High up in Brazil's northeast, the São Francisco Valley is a treasure trove of delicious mangoes. Here, Tommy Atkins is the most famous mango, loved for its firm flesh and long shelf life. In 2023, this region produced 284,000 tons of mangoes, consistently supplying over 90% of the nation's exports annually. Mango can continue to ripen after picking, but the catch is that the sugar stops growing once they're off the tree. So if they're picked too early, they won't be as sweet. Farmers will only pick mangoes with light yellow stems because that's the ripening sign. But they have to be careful with the mango latex because it can cause skin rash and skin browning to the mango. They can also climb up the trees to pick it and will keep about 2 to 3 centimeters of the stem attached. Then they're sprayed with a mango wash to neutralize the latex for at least 1 minute. Next, they are gently placed into these baskets with clean linings to protect them from small cuts. Once picked, the mangoes take a trip to a special factory for some post-harvest processing. First, workers trim the stems a little and let the latex drip off for about half an hour. Then they get sorted by size and quality. Hot water treatment is often applied to control disease and ensure a longer shelf life. The best looking mangoes get all cleaned and dried up before heading off to stores in sturdy crates. For the mangoes with a few bumps and scratches, they get turned into delicious juice or cut up into ready-to-eat pieces. In this super cold room of 5 degrees Celsius, workers can cut up to 100 mangoes an hour. And did you know that they can even make vegan leather from mangoes in the Netherlands? Pineapples thrive in sandy, loamy soil, and the hot weather of Brazil gives the tart fruit an extra sweetness. Growing pineapples takes about 16 months, and the hard work starts a year and a half before the harvest. On this 500-acre farm, a skilled worker can plant 6,000 seed crowns a day, nearly a quarter of an acre. 8 months later, farmers spray ethylene to trigger the plants to start making fruits. And did you know a pineapple is actually a cluster of flowers? When the pineapple changes from green to yellow and reaches the right amount of sugar content, farmers start to harvest them. They break off the stalk with a downward motion and throw it into the basket. But you can imagine how heavy that is. That's why some farms now have a conveyor belt mounted truck, making it easier for workers to harvest daily. Then the pineapples are moved to the shade so they don't dry out. At the factory, pineapples are cleaned and trimmed thoroughly. They also get a light wax coat to last longer on the shelf. They can last up to 3 weeks if stored at 8 degrees Celsius and 90% humid room. But some pineapples are further processed to make frozen fruits. This way, you can enjoy them all year round and less fruit goes to waste. In Vietnam, even pineapple skins are used to make soap. Artichoke fields can be harvested more than 10 times because they come in many different sizes that won't grow any bigger. Peru is the world's top 5 artichoke producer, with over 132,000 tons produced in 2019. It is also the first artichoke exporter in the world. There are 2 main types of artichoke: the green globes and the Peruvian purples, which look fancy with their purple color. The real secret to the artichoke's success in Peru is the weather. Its consistent coolness around 18 degrees Celsius fosters healthy growth and allows Peruvian farmers to cultivate artichokes year-round. After roughly 6 months of meticulous care, the artichokes are ready to harvest. Pickers simply use a sharp knife to remove the buds along with the stem about 3 fingers in length, then toss it right in the bag. Each bag can carry up to 100 pounds. Once it's full, pickers will bring it to the harvester, where it's sorted by size and placed in boxes. These artichokes are then either sold right away or kept in the inventory for later. Considered green gold, the world produced nearly 9 million tons of avocados in 2022, and 1 million tons came from Peru, one of the top avocado countries in the world. The most famous type here is the Hass avocado, with its thick skin and creamy taste. An avocado tree takes at least 3 years to grow fruit, but then it keeps giving for a long time, up to 40 years, and it happens all year round. But they are super thirsty fruits. 283 liters of water are needed to grow just 1 kilogram of avocados. They're hard until picked, but if picked too immaturely, they will turn rubbery or never even ripen. So farmers will test some samples to determine the harvest time. Avocados can be snap-picked or cut near the stem to reduce the risk of post-harvest rots. This will help the avocado ripen evenly because the stem will block the oxygen from getting inside. The old tree can reach over 12 meters tall, and a skilled picker can harvest 453 kilograms in just 30 minutes. Picked avocados must not be dropped from over 30 centimeters or they'll get bruised when ripened. Then they are immediately put in a cool place to prevent sunburn and rejected. After a wash with fungicides for fungal control, the top-graded avocados are sold fresh, while others are further processed into best-selling sauces and dips like guacamole. Brazil is the world's second largest papaya producer, with more than 1.2 million tons produced in 2019. They only grow two main types here: the big, long Formosa papaya and the smaller, round golden papaya. Papaya trees take about 7 months to a year to mature and produce their first fruit. After that, they will give fruit all year round in this fascinating spiral pattern, with the peak season in the summer and fall. After 2 years, the plant reaches its limit and farmers will replace it with new ones. Papayas ripen when they start to turn yellow, and they will come off easily with a gentle twist. Papaya latex contains papain that can stain the fruit and burn human skin, so farmers will wash it right after harvest. Besides being sold fresh, some ripe papayas are turned into dried fruit or pulp for ice cream. But green papayas are good too, especially in salads. As dawn breaks across Asian fields, from banana orchards in Thailand to apple fields in Japan, the fruit harvest appears like a vivid painting. Now, let's visit fruit orchards to see how Asian farmers harvest millions of tons of fruit. After planting, the apple orchard begins to bear fruit from the 7th or 8th year. However, it all depends on the selected variety. Fruit yield will increase gradually each year and then remain stable for 30 to 35 years. A farm in Japan has an area of 114,200 acres of apple trees. Total apple production reached 94,600 tons, bringing in revenue of about 1,316 million USD. The apple industry has become a pillar industry that helps increase people's income and promote the rapid development of the local economy. First of all, farmers will determine the optimal ripeness for picking. Correct ripeness is not only important for quality, but also for successful preservation. Picking fruit early is often both inefficient and expensive. When apples are immature, they bruise easily and shrink during storage. Apple orchards in Asia are often harvested by hand. Farmers will climb ladders or use support tools to carefully pick each apple. This is an extremely labor-intensive method that predominates in the production of dessert apples. It appears mainly in large fruit orchards, accompanied by the participation of a significant number of seasonal workers. On average, an apple orchard needs about 10 to 12 harvesting workers to ensure the job is completed. Farmers handle apples as gently as they would an egg. They carefully place all the apples in the picking box. Do not drop the fruit or jostle it during transportation. This is the only way to prevent the fruit from being damaged before being distributed to the market. The harvest usually lasts until late October, and fresh apples are usually available in early November. Once harvest and sales are complete, the production cycle begins again. At the processing site, apples are graded based on size, color, and quality. Apples are washed to remove dirt and pesticides, then stored in cold storage or humidity-controlled environment to retain freshness longer. Inside the spiky shell is a passionate sweetness. Have you ever tasted the taste of durian? Now let's explore how farmers harvest this unique fruit. Durian season in Malaysia usually lasts from May to September, peaking in July and August. When durians ripen, their spines turn from yellow-brown to dark brown, with a characteristic strong smell. However, durian harvested at this stage is not suitable for transportation or long-term storage. When durians mature, a spot on their stem will swell, allowing them to naturally fall off the tree. That is also the reason why durians can fall at any time. To ensure that farmers can collect fallen durians immediately, farmers often tie strings to the durians. This is to help prevent the fruit from touching the ground and damaging the durian's thorns. Professional durian farms often tie strings to each durian fruit when it has just matured. When the durian fruit ripens and falls from the tree branch, the string immediately wraps tightly around the durian fruit, preventing the durian fruit from falling to the ground and being damaged. At this time, farmers can carefully lower the fruit and harvest. At the beginning and end of the harvest season, durian is usually harvested only once a day because the garden's productivity is relatively low during this period. After being picked, they have to go through a series of processes before reaching you. Durians are quickly transported to the collection center for further classification. Despite its thick skin and rough appearance, durian is not suitable for rough transportation. Because once durian fruits rub against each other, the durian spines will break and become susceptible to pathogens. Besides conventional preservation, fresh durians can be quickly frozen by exposing them to liquid nitrogen. Frozen durian can be stored at -18 degrees Celsius for 2 years while still retaining its original flavor, color, and texture. Dragon fruit is famous for its vibrant color, exotic appearance, and potential health benefits. With its growing popularity in domestic and international markets, dragon fruit cultivation offers economic opportunities for farmers and meets growing consumer demand. Depending on the variety and environmental conditions, dragon fruit trees can begin to bear fruit 12 to 15 months after planting. Each year, dragon fruit begins to flower in May to June. The growth period of dragon fruit is quite short. Only 1 month after flowering, farmers can enter the harvest season. Similar to other fruits, dragon fruit farmers also pay great attention to harvest time, because ripeness will affect the quality and risk of spoilage of the fruit. Farmers choose fruit that is not fully ripe or has turned pink. At the same time, when pressed, the fruit deflates slightly, the skin has a bright color, and the scales on the outside of the skin have begun to wither. Picking is also quite simple. Farmers just need to gently separate the fruit from the stem. Besides, dragon fruit can be harvested with scissors or a knife. The harvested fruit is immediately transferred to a place that can avoid sunlight before packaging or storage. Early morning or cool afternoon is the appropriate time to harvest to avoid hot direct sunlight, which increases the temperature in the fruit. If stored in optimal conditions, usually at 10 degrees Celsius, dragon fruit will retain its flavor for up to 17 days. Goodbye dragon fruit garden. Now let's go to banana garden in Thailand. When the bananas mature, farmers place pads between the banana bunches to protect them from bumps and bruises. Then, the bananas are wrapped in cloth or plastic bags to repel insects. Bananas are ready to be harvested about 10 to 13 weeks after the plant flowers. Bananas are always harvested by hand with two-person teams who work well together. First, a person will use a knife to cut the banana bunch from the stem. At this point, the chamber is lowered onto the other person's shoulder pad. Most farms in the Delta can use a cable car system to move bunches of bananas to processing sites. If the bananas are pulled too quickly along the cable, it can damage the fruit. A small, sharp knife is used to cut the bunch of bananas out of the bunch. Then, these bananas are placed in a water tank to remove the pus. Finally, bananas are graded according to size and quality. Bananas are packaged whole and partially in cardboard boxes with plastic lining. Each box is guaranteed to have a net weight of 13 kilograms when released to the market. Now we go to the pineapple fields in the Philippines to see how farmers harvest millions of pineapples. This is the leading country with a production level of about 2.7 million tons of pineapples per year. The country's pineapple growing area is estimated to be over 40,000 hectares. Under good sunny conditions, it takes 18 to 32 months for a pineapple to mature. Prolonged cold and freezing temperatures will slow the ripening process and make the fruit more acidic. Even pineapple will be seriously damaged at a temperature of 28 degrees. Pineapples are not ready to ripen until most of the fruit has turned orange-yellow. However, size and color changes are not reliable indicators of ripeness. Because pineapple is a fruit that does not continue to ripen after harvest, choosing the right time to harvest will affect the entire quality of pineapple products. Every year, about 3,200 workers flock to pineapple farms in Indonesia to harvest. Millions of pineapples will be picked by hand. Before harvesting, workers need to carefully prepare protective gear and gloves, because the sawtooth-like leaves can hurt them. After harvesting, pineapples will be sent to factories for packaging or processing into other products such as canned pineapples and dried pineapples.